Through 8 feature films, the Muppets have entertained us with their silly antics and comedic adventures, while also including the occasional heart and toe-tapping musical numbers. Whether they're traveling around the world or adapting a classic story, Jim Henson's beloved creations are sure to bring a smile to our faces. And I've decided to celebrate their cinematic tales by ranking those movies. Of course, the nice thing about the Muppet movies is everyone has their own personal preferences of where they rank them. These are just my own, but I'm sure you have your own order. So, here are my picks. Muppet Treasure Island. While I rank this at the bottom, I actually find this and my number 7 choice to be okay little films. Maybe not top-tier Muppets in my book, but I still get a decent amount of entertainment value out of them. Director Brian Henson and the Muppets team have some fun with the swashbuckling pirate adventure, even if I do find some parts sort of drag. The highlights come from Tim Curry as Long John Silver and Miss Piggy. I also enjoy the more wild scenes that break from the Treasure Island narrative, like the Cabin Fever musical number, and the filmmakers do capture some of the expected adventurous tone. Muppet Treasure Island may not deliver as many laughs as I would want, but I still find some things to appreciate. Muppets from Space. Similarly hit or miss in the humor department, I do think there are occasional charms to be had. The decision to focus on Gonzo is a good one, and I like how it tries to explore why he's the only one of his kind, at least on this planet. The sentimental scenes do tug at the heartstrings, especially near the end, and Dave Goelz delivers a touching and likable performance as Gonzo. I also find myself laughing at a fair amount of gags, even if the movie does feel like it's trying too hard at times with a few pop culture references and celebrity cameos. Is there really that much of a crossover between the Dawson's Creek and Muppets fanbase? Nonetheless, I think Muppets from Space gets a bit of a bad rap, and it does just enough things right to serve as an okay Muppet comedy. Muppets Most Wanted. Now we're getting to the really good material. The most recent theatrical Muppet movie, but hopefully not the last, director James Bobbin and co-writer Nicholas Stoller took a lot of fun avenues with this European tour, and filled with plenty of inspired bits. The switcheroo plot involving Kermit's evil double does spice up some of the formula, and it's funny seeing Constantine attempt to pretend to be our beloved frog. The meta-humor and musical numbers are really enjoyable, with the best part actually being the opening number, We're Doing a Sequel. There are also fun turns from Tina Fey, Ty Burrell, and Ricky Gervais as the principal human players. Bobbin directs Most Wanted with plenty of energy, and the result proves to be a wild caper. The Great Muppet Caper. The first Muppet movie involving them visiting Europe while main characters framed, this was actually the only film in the series directed by Jim Henson. He definitely emphasized the fact this is a movie, and that's one of several enjoyable elements to be found here. I like how Henson seems to take influence from old-school filmmaking with his approach, right down to the musical numbers that would not be out of place in classic Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly movies. They just happen to involve Muppets. Kermit and Piggy's relationship is well developed, and Henson and the writing team do find things for the various Muppets to do. One does not know which specific Muppet will pop up to deliver a funny line. Yes, the Jewel Thief plot is a fairly standard one, but I don't watch Muppet movies for the plot. I watch them for the jokes, the songs, and the amazing puppetry, and the Great Muppet Caper delivers in those departments. The Muppets Take Manhattan. A take on the classic Let's Put On a Show story, this one goes more for sentiment than the previous Muppet movie did, but I think that's part of why this one really works for me. As through any one of these, I want Kermit, Fozzie, Gonzo, and the rest of the gang to succeed in their dreams. Their frequent attempts to put a show on Broadway provide equal parts laughs and sadness. And then there's the whole plot point of Kermit getting amnesia, which leads to some great scenes. Muppets Take Manhattan has some excellent songs too, with Together Again and Saying Goodbye providing the highlights of the soundtrack. The film even introduced audiences to the Muppet Babies, and it's probably not too much of a surprise that Henson was inspired to then make an animated series. Frank Oz also deserves commending for the film's direction. The Muppets Take Manhattan would sadly be the last Muppet movie with Jim Henson's involvement, which adds another layer of poignancy to its story and especially its ending. The Muppet Christmas Carol. Tackling Charles Dickens' famous Yuletide tale, Brian Henson and the Muppets find a way to be respectful to the original material while still injecting their trademark sense of humor. The decision to have Gonzo play Dickens as the narrator of the film is incredibly inspired, and the puppetry displayed here might be some of the most accomplished by the Muppet team. The casting is on point, and Michael Caine is one of my favorite Scrooges. The songs by Paul Williams are wonderful too, with the opening number Scrooge being my favorite of the bunch. The heartwarming moments, especially those involving Kermit as Bob Cratchit, also deliver, and it makes Scrooge's eventual change at the end work all the more. Muppet Christmas Carol is apparently a favorite among Dickens enthusiasts, and it's easy to see why. As the first Muppet movie produced after Jim Henson's passing, this film proved these characters would still be around for a very long time. The Muppets. That big screen comeback, this movie was obviously a labor of love for everyone involved, as James Bobbitt and Jason Segel sought to prove the Muppets could still enchant an audience. The filmmakers have a lot of fun with getting the gang back together, and the story develops really nicely, as we watch them trying to save the classic theater and show they are still relevant to modern viewers. That spirit that has energized the Muppets for so long remains intact, and the comedy succeeds more often than not. The addition of Walter as a fan who wants to join the Muppets was also a clever idea, and his arc is nicely done. The songs are delightful, with Bret McKenzie writing catchy tunes like Life's Happy Song and Man or Muppet. One of the high points comes when they finally put on the Muppet Show after so many years, and it's difficult not feeling emotional when Kermit performs the Rainbow Connection. This was a lovely and funny film and a sweet way to experience the Muppets on the big screen again. And my favorite Muppet movie is The Muppet Movie. That's right, their very first feature film from 1979, Henson and his team had a lot to prove to show these characters' brand of humor could translate to a movie, and they succeeded beautifully. Director James Frawley deserves a lot of credit too, for how he captured the needed tone in showing this road trip to Hollywood. You really feel Kermit's determination, and how happy he is to meet others like him with similar dreams. These characters really do belong together, and their chemistry as a troupe feels so natural. The film also comes with an important message about how everyone is talented, regardless of who they are or what their background is. Charles Durning makes for a fun villain as Doc Hopper, and there are many entertaining cameos that pop up throughout the movie. The songs are fantastic too. Paul Williams and Kenny Asher filled the soundtrack with so many memorable compositions, including Rainbow Connection and Movin' Right Along. The puppetry is also sensational. The Muppets team tried all sorts of new things here, most famously Kermit riding a bicycle, and it's remarkable what they were able to accomplish. This film has all the ingredients that make a really good Muppet movie, and I'm happy to rank it as my #1. Now let me know what your favorite Muppet movie is, and I'll see you next time.